does as the green flag is out and off the line. It's a horrible start for third place. It looks like Tixier is going to get swamped. And in fact, he's going to have a little bit of a tip with one car who goes spinning off and into the air. Looks like somebody else gets a little bit of a piece of it. But up ahead of them as they plunge into the first corner, we got more contact, and Kane Lasky gets sent around. It is a messy start. Lasky gets pointed back forward, but then runs into somebody else as he tries to recover.
Yeah, a lot of incidents. We haven't seen that for a while in the 49 series, but yeah, it all started off with kind of a bad getaway at the front of the field, and then the 8 of Olsen was having a huge incident on the front stretch.
Oh, so Tixier involved in that first one, and Lasky involved in the second. We'll try to go back to the replay a little bit later, but we got to let things settle in. Looks like a Broda goes off in Repsol, so he'll get the car turned around out of the gravel trap out there. Just loses some positions. The car looks okay up at the front. Gortonemi now ahead of Bill Tyler instead in that second position. He somehow got by Mick Claridge there in the first corner. Yeah,
a really messy start, but it's given Bill a huge jump up in his second spot. In terms of the cars involved in that incident, we've got Pereira in the pits, Grissinger in the pits, John Olsen obviously in the pits with Kane Lasky, and then Pangrazi is making his way around the track. But David Rossi, the F2 points leader, he was involved in that, so there is an opportunity to close that gap on him, and we've still got cars going around. Neil Kemp is off at the midway point of the circuit.
He is, unfortunately. He had gained a couple positions out of that, but the car looks pretty darn damaged. Not sure if he'll be able to get it going. We had one driver take big advantage of it. Chris Barnes is up 18 positions right now, so he's doing quite well. Tixier is on his way back. He's already at least overtaken Laust Olsen and gotten himself back into fifth. But remember, started in third, so he's going to want more than that here today as they break down into the first corner here in the mid-pack. Looks like Olsen in a fight with Sanchez as we watch on screen. This is the 16 of Plumley trying to catch up to Mosquera and Lehman, so this is the battle for 14th.
Yeah, he's in a fight with that Duracell Batteries car again, and that's just a huge amount of shuffle in the first lap there. Obviously, someone's gone off. I think it's Rasky.
It is indeed. Yeah, and unfortunately, when he comes back on, that will hinder Mosquera, who's on the outside of the corner. He has to check up, so wrong place, wrong time for the Spaniard, and he'll have to get out of it. So now that moves Plumley into 14th, Lehman up into P13. So, as the drivers come around through Campsa once again, bit of a crest over that swift right-hander, and then it's a bit of a run down to Lakaija. Oh, and something happened to Bill Tyler. Bill Tyler's gone off. He's lost second place. This is in Lakaija, and he's going to fall all the way down to 8th, maybe 9th, as it looks like Geison's going to try to go around the outside through Bonk Sabadell. Not sure if he's going to be able to complete the pass, and yes, he is.
Yeah, that's disappointing for Tyler. Obviously got a huge advantage on the start there, and it's just kind of thrown it away.
Did he just look like, from that view there, just outbraked himself completely? Not sure if he was trying to defend. Didn't seem like Claridge was there to his inside. But whatever the case, a simple mistake has not cost him any damage to the car, but certainly precious time in a race where it seems like keeping it together will be critical to having a good finish here today. Meanwhile, this is Geisen just ahead of him, and Ben Zocco just behind him. They've also got Salgado and Cam Porter in there. Cam Porter running very well today, all the way up to 12th.
Yeah, and he had a pretty good qualifying as well. He was 18th, took advantage of the start, and has gained 6 spots. And see up there Ben Zocco with the additional cooling package on his car right now. That's probably going to harm him a little bit for straight line speed, as we've got another car missing a turn further back in the pack.
Yeah, that was Chris Barnes, just had a simple off. Don't need to go to him, as we're seeing a lot of those. I wonder if that's not going to be the end of it, and drivers are going to find themselves pushing boundaries a little bit too hard. Porter still chasing behind Salgado to see if he can get into 11th, maybe even crack into the top 10. Great run for him as they plunge towards Lakaja. Heavy braking into here. He clears him by a long margin. Can he get the corner? Yes, he can. It looks to me like Marco gave that one up.
Yeah, it looked like he kind of knew his beat and gave it up before they kind of even got to the braking zone there. But yeah, a lot of these kind of single car incidents where we see people running deep into the turns, that's kind of what I was talking about in pre-race, that you don't really have any camber on any of these corners to help you out with them being very, very flat. You think of somewhere like Watkins Glen or whatnot, you can run pretty deep into the corner, and even if you miss the apex, the banking is there to really kind of help you out and rotate the car enough so you don't go way off. But a track like Catalonia, there's really none of that except for turn 1. So any mistake is a huge miss of the apex. So you pretty much always end up in the gravel.
And Cortinemi is taking advantage of not only that pace advantage he had in the qualifying, but everybody else around him seems to be tripping over one another. Claridge, after losing that position early, is a full 4 seconds back, and he's not done with his battles. In the background, you can see the red car of Ove Trangrade still chasing him, hot on his heels, plunging through the downhill of Seat.
Yeah, I don't think this is too much of a surprise to us. Obviously, the massive advantage in qualifying has transferred through to the race, and everyone behind him tripped themselves up immediately on lap 1, so he was never under threat from draft into turn 1 on lap 2. And now it just looks like it's going to be a regular race for Topi here. He's just going to drive around running fast laps and gradually pull away from the field.
Yep, he'll have to hope that he doesn't run into too much traffic late in the race. I think we've got an opportunity finally to potentially take a look at some of the incidents at the start. I'm not sure if we have the replays for those. Let's see if we've got those spooled up. Of course, the first one, I didn't see who he ran into, but Tixier kind of started. Well, he did start it. It wasn't kind of. He kind of veered across the track, it seemed, after his poor start. Let's see if we've got this one up and ready here. Yeah, here we go. So watch the red machine. Just spun up the tires, maybe it looks like?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he didn't get into second gear there, but then obviously you see him kind of coming back across. And I'm guessing that it just checked up everybody behind him and everybody was tripping over each other.
We're watching Trangrade up in front of him, so yeah, here is, I think this is after the contact. It looks like maybe he got a little loose, and that's what veered him off to the right. Maybe clipped the grass a little. And then who is this we're looking at in the red and white car? Oh no, that was John Olsen. So John Olsen, unfortunately, with a massive hit, leapt up into the air and clipped somebody else in a big way, sending them off. That is the 31.
Is Andrew Bank?
Yeah. So there's those. And then, not sure if we're looking at Kane Lasky's incident. No, it doesn't look like we have time to go back to that one, unfortunately. But as we come back live, Salgado's still running, even though he's been overtaken by Cam Porter. He's hanging on to the back of him. Not terribly close, so I'm not expecting any sort of pass. Porter looking for a potential top 10. And Yuri Geisen is the one that he's going to have to overtake to do that. I'll have to look and see the stats of Cam, because I'm not sure if we've seen him finish as high as the top 10 before.
I don't believe that we have. I'm happy to be proven wrong on that one, but yeah, I don't think we have seen Cam finishing inside the top 10 yet.
Checking our stats page to see if we have top 10s listed anywhere. That might be a very long list. And no, I'm not seeing that one at this point. So as we come back to McClarridge in the meantime, he is right now being challenged by Ove Trangrade as well as Sebastian Tixier. Not going to let a poor start keep him down. He's back up to 4th and has caught the battle for P2.
Yeah, we've seen this before from Tixier, where he's kind of not had the greatest race start. He's been able to mount a really good recovery drive from it, but it kind of, I don't want to say it worked out for him, because it didn't really. Obviously, the start was pretty disastrous for him, but it wasn't as punishing as it could have been because of how many other people tripped up then when they got down to turn 1.
And despite those wrecks being pretty decently sized, we've only lost, looks like maybe about 5 cars. We've lost Pereira, Grissinger, Olsen, Lasky, I see Arribas and Abrota are also taking repairs in the pit lane. David Rossi's been able to come back out. He's trying to take as many points as he can to help him in that F2 championship, but it's going to be a bit of a slog since he had to spend 6 minutes into there. Meanwhile, nose to tail for P2. Tixier getting ever closer to the back of Trangrade into the braking of Lakaja. Switch is back now into Bonsa, but down a little wide, tries to square off the exit, but he definitely left himself vulnerable there, did the Norwegian.
Yeah, and throughout the field I've kind of seen a couple of mistakes as we come through the last two corners. Really allows a big run down into turn one. And you see Trangrade doesn't look like he's got the greatest run there. Tixier is definitely going to have an opportunity into one.
So as Ove doesn't go defensive, Sebastian's going to take a look. He's going to try and outbrake him. He'll get down to the inside. Can he get the car woed up in time? Plenty of room given by the 12 car, and that will retain him that third spot. So Sebastian may be a bit brave here.
Yeah, he kind of didn't run Ove out so much there, and actually is pretty sorry on the driver's channel. I'm not sure why. There's no contact, and he ran right around the inside curb.
Yeah, I don't think he intended to make a pass there. I think he just sent it in deep. Ove saw the writing on the wall, tried to preserve the car, is looking for a good finish here, and going to try and see if he can come back at it later. It's not been the best season for Ove. He's all the way down in 9th in points, which is highly unusual for one of our former champions in this series. But he's making do here today. I'm sure he's excited, maybe a little bit distracted, as we've got another Norwegian track coming to iRacing soon.
Apparently. So that's as much as I can say on that one.
That's totally fine. The Sherlocks of iRacing have already sussed it out, much to, well, I wouldn't say my shock and surprise, because they've done it by picnic park bench. So for them to have been able to figure out the next track by a rock is kind of interesting and a new one for me. But in the meantime, as they come around the last part of the track, you can see that damage on the front of Benzoko. Not sure if he even knows that it's damaged up there, because you can't always necessarily see that at the front of the car. Yeah, this is a good angle of the driver's view. You can just see a little maybe buckle there, but might not know that he's missing so much of the bodywork.
Yeah, I imagine he's got absolutely no idea, if I'm honest. I know when I've done this myself to the car, I then got out of it and was like, the whole front end was missing, and I had no clue. But up ahead, there is a fight happening, and this is kind of a 5th place battle with Laust Olsen, Xavier Sanchez, Gwen Old, Bill Tyler, and then Zoko just kind of watching on.
Gwen usually racing over in the Lotus 79s, but has now started to show up here in this older machinery. But she's holding her own here in a top 10. That's not easy to do in this car. You got to be pretty darn skilled. And as she defends a little bit on Bill Tyler, she's also maybe half attacking on Laust Olsen in front of her. Immediately goes off to cover the left-hand side. She doesn't like that white and blue number 5 filling her mirrors.
Well, Bill's obviously on a recovery here, so to speak. He was in 2nd, and now he's dropped back behind. And I think Bill's got enough pace to get back to the head of this line. And we've seen that in the past he's pretty racy. He'll go for moves. He won't hang around. So I don't think he's going to be content sitting here at the back of this train. And Zoko he's holding on. As soon as these guys start to battle, he's going to be right there.
To give you an idea of the level of talent that I'm talking about here, and within the top 10, your lowest I rating is 3,200. So that's your lowest there in that group. It is stacked up at the top of the field, and you almost have to be perfect out here, because everybody's going to pounce as soon as they see an opening, especially with battles this close. Olsen has got to worry, because behind him, Gwen is going to try and send it in. She gets down to the inside. She gets a nose ahead, but it's hard to complete the pass here. It's back and forth through Elf. Tries to keep it in there coming into Renault, but gets chopped off.
Yeah, Gwen gave a lot of room there, and that has allowed Ben to close up. But more importantly, Xavier Sanchez, he's gone. He's got a full second almost now.
Yeah, Yeah, I got to think that Sanchez is going to use this to his advantage as much as he can, try and streak away. He doesn't want anything to do with all those battling behind him when still having to deal with Bill Tyler. But now Bill is also having to be a chameleon. He's got to look forward and backwards with Zoko on the attack behind him with that damaged car. Oh my goodness, under braking, Bill Tyler's car doesn't look all that solid though.
Yeah, and I mean that's another point to bring up is that with the 49, it's very different from the modern cars. There's a ton of different approaches in driving out here, and we have seen in the past where it will kind of cross people up a little bit because everybody's out there driving the car totally differently, but somehow getting the same or similar lap time out of it. And you just got to be careful of, you know, if you go into a corner pretty deep on the brakes, whereas the person ahead of you doesn't, you can very, very easily get into the back of them and spin them around.
Out of Von Sabadell and into Europe car, this old version bypasses the chicane, takes them around two very fast right-handers and onto the main straight. This is where we've seen most of the passes attempted here, down into Elf. And last time Gwen took a shot at it, what did she learn from it? Is she able to overtake Olsen this time? Is she going to be more aggressive on him? Olsen's not defending. Laust is just holding his line, letting her have that inside. Maybe he feels like he can once again defend. Oh, no. They get together. The car slid. She sent it in a little bit too hard. Bill Tyler says, thank you very much. I'll take that spot in 6th. Still trying to keep from losing a second one as Gwen is on the outside of Renault with Ben Zoko now able to take that 7th place off of her hands.
Yeah, that everybody was very, very lucky there because normally when we see that kind of wheel-to-wheel contact in the 49, someone is getting at least spun around, if not flipped over. So unfortunate for Laus to lose out on the track position, but I think honestly both of them will be happy that they're just still in the race.
Absolutely. It's difficult when the wheels get tangled on these cars to try and keep from getting popped in the air. They both managed to survive it, but Gwen's already on the attack, trying to see if she can overtake on Ben Zoko. Zoko is a wily veteran of this car, though. He's going to be difficult, but Gwen gets the launch coming out of Kampsa. Ben dutifully covers off the inside. Let's see if Gwen can do it with the car defending, whereas before Laust Olsen really didn't cover her, and this time she's going to be able to get to the inside, forces a mistake out of Ben Zoko, but it switches back to the inside for him, coming down through the right-hander. Still going to be difficult, 3 right-handers in a row right here, but look at that launch. Gwen Old with great traction to take 7th back. Yeah,
pretty easily drove around the outside of Ben there. I thought they might kind of get trapped 2 by 2 all the way through to the front stretch, but they didn't. Now, I don't think Ben's really going to get an easy pass here with the damage that he's got to the nose, but this has split the group up considerably, and I think that Laust is probably going to be pretty upset.
And we've had a battle for second. Ove Trangrade nearly got by Mick Claridge down into the first corner. Couldn't complete the pass. It's made him open to Sebastian Tixier, who is now trying to overtake him down at a Repsol and is going to be able to get to the inside. He's desperate to make up these positions he's lost at the start, but it doesn't look like he's able to do it. And Trangrade's going to be able to hold him back, but he still stays defensive. Down into Sayat as they switch back downhill through the left-hander. And it looks like that battle is now done, but that took about 5 corners to settle itself out.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about done. I think this trio is going to battle all the way to the end of the race. We're only halfway through at this point. See Ove and Mick going defensive down into turn 1, 2.
Now watch this round the outside. He actually almost had him. He's fully ahead. I think he just went a little too deep, had to collect the car, and Mick scrambled back up to the front when he had the chance.
Yeah, and turn 1 at this track is kind of really a weird one because we've seen people actually be defensive both on the outside and the inside. It just seems difficult to actually complete the pass down there. You've obviously got to switch back afterwards, but I think the cambering of the corner, even if you're on the outside, allows you to pinch the car on the bottom down, so it just makes it real difficult. But there's going to be another repeat here, and Mick looks very vulnerable this time.
Yeah, both times going all the way to the inside, forcing Ove Trangrade to really work for this one. But Sebastian's going to pull a trick on him and make it 3 wide. He got a fantastic run. Poor Mick is being attacked on all sides, and still he keeps them both behind. What a beautiful drive this is from the 3 car.
Yeah, I think he was he was about to maybe give that up right there, but then Ove ran deep again, ended up out on the greenery on the outside, and Seb, I think, was pretty cautious there on the inside line.
Seb thought he could take advantage, but both of them got caught out by the savviness of McClarridge. But Tixier's finally overtaken. Trangrade down into Repsol. He's into second. Can he do what the Norwegian couldn't?
Third, remember Topi's still out there.
Yes.
He's 10 seconds on the field, but he's still out there and leading.
Yes, this is the battle for second place here, and there is our leader. Got so caught up in that. In my head, I knew that was for second. My mouth decided that was for first, but this is best of the rest, and oh my goodness, look at them there. Absolutely dogfighting out there, weaving back and forth once again, almost 3 wide, getting to the inside of McClarridge. Could Seb get back into second where he started this race? He goes very deep into Bog Sabadell. I think this is going to hurt him, not only losing to Mick, but he opened himself up. No, he doesn't. How did he launch off that corner? And despite being on the outside, he has made the high line work. Call this man Harry Gant. How is he doing this?
But I like the use of the kind of the sausage curve there. The 49's got enough ride height that you can just put it straight down the middle of the car, and he's able to maintain.
Still to the outside, still side by side. No draft down the front stretch. He's going to have to do this on the brakes, and he does. He gets by McClarridge. He's back into second place after the start of the race took it from him.
Yeah, but I don't think that he's safe by any means. Everybody in this group looks like they've got the exact same pace.
Sebastian Tixier is going to have to work hard to try and shake these two. No doubt Claridge is going to be hungry here, coming back after not being able to visit in very often recently with his bike ride. Traveling around the world, having to take a brief break. And we'll see whether he'll be able to restart that. But Ove Trangrade behind him is currently trying to play catch-up as well. Did Sanchez just lose out to Bill Tyler? I think he did. Bill Tyler got 5th.
Indeed, Sanchez has been overhauled for that. Tyler is now trying to get away, and everybody kind of behind. Gwen has not quite got to the back of Sanchez, so Bill does have the opportunity to escape. And then it's a little bit strung out. You got Zoko and then Laust, with Yuri Geisen actually now on the tail of that with Cam Porter. So that race for that 10th spot for Cam is still on, and he's got a pretty healthy gap actually back to Antonio Lopez Salgado. He's got almost 4 seconds over.
That was very smart on the part of Bill Tyler. He used back row Bob as a bit of a pick and got a mistake out of Sanchez. Once Sanchez went wide, he dove through, and that was it. So nicely done by him as we watch them come onto the front stretch. Is there going to be a re-attack here from Xavier? Or is he going to have to stay put where he is? You can see as kicking up dust in front of them. Ove Trangrade still chasing Claridge, but didn't make an attack this time as this battle for 5th comes down into Elf, but neither of them deviating from the racing line.
Yeah, Xavier not close enough to get the run, but Bill was a bit deep into 1, and it's kind of set him up. Someone spun in the background.
It's Geisen. That is Yuri. He's trying to get it going, and he does eventually, but many spots lost. He's down to the 14th. Not sure if that was solo or if he had some help, but we'll check it out a little bit later. Meanwhile, it is still tight here. Xavier knows he lost it here last lap. He wants it back. Is he going to try and get a mistake out of him? He does. That was a little wide out of Bill Tyler, and as much as he slips up, the car finds the grip, and it's very hard to pass into vert, so they're going to stay single file.
Yeah, it's not really a passing opportunity there, but what it is doing is bringing the group back close together. Gwen is now almost kind of equidistant to Xavier Sanchez until she's just gone a little bit wide there and lost that. Someone else spinning in the background, I believe that's Laust also.
Oh no. Oh, the 9 is going to lose a position. Started this in 9th place, and unfortunately is falling backwards into 12th now. Looks like that's Rasky getting the spot and Salgado getting by him. It did look like there was slight contact with the wall for Olsen, but I think he is able to drive on, so he should be okay. Cam Porter into P9 as well now, but he has fallen off of Benzoko.
Oh, so, something's gone on with the timing. Topi just for a moment dropped down the boards. I believe he's okay.
Yeah, it must have been a bit of a blink. He's still up there by, well, now 13 seconds. All that fighting has just allowed him to streak away from them. So Sebastian may have gotten into second, but highly unlikely in 5 laps that he's going to be able to get up to the top here. Meanwhile, down through the S's into Renault, Zoko and Old paired up. Sanchez and Tyler paired up. They're heading into Repsol. It's going to be just a bit of a downhill here as they head around the right-hander, but looks like nobody's quite close enough to try to tack into Seat unless they can once again get a mistake out of their rivals. Does seem like that's been quite a tricky one. We've seen a few cars that just slip a little wide there.
Yeah, slow downhill hairpin is difficult in any car, but the 49 is very susceptible to the rear end whipping around on you in that kind of corner. As I see Sanchez has dropped back a little bit there.
Oh, he lost a lot. He was right on top of Bill before, but now it seems like Old is a lot closer to him. They're going to get by the lap traffic, so no issues there. Hari in the 34. One of our Finnish drivers going to get out of the way. Still running in 30th, though. So he's up 4 positions from where he started. But these 3 carry on. Now losing touch with Bill Tyler. Has he been able to shake them? Has he been towing them along with the slipstream a little bit? And is he finally going to be rid of them?
I think he might actually be clear now. And Sanchez is going to be under threat from Gwen into turn 1, perhaps. So I don't think Sanchez is going to be running down that 5th spot any longer.
These things do get going pretty fast. We're talking 185 miles an hour by the time they break here into the first corner. And that's without the wings to help carry them through the final turns. They are a rocket ship in a straight line without any downforce devices to slow them down there. So as they come around Renault, going to be a bit of a slower corner for them compared to some others, but they manage it nicely. They are catching back up to the back of Bill Tyler, so I wonder if it's he slides the car out of Repsol and catches it, thankfully, but he's starting to push the limits.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised actually that Bill hasn't been able to get away, because he obviously had pace at the beginning of the race and has come back through from the tail end of the group. So you would think being able to do that, you would actually be able to get away, but this lap is just, it's not really looked very fast, if I'm honest, and Sanchez is now back on his tail, but Sanchez is pulled clear of Gwen.
Yeah, fastest lap for Tyler is a 45.2. The last one was a 45.3, so he's running pretty hot last time by. We'll see what the lap is this run through. If he's losing a chunk, and that's slower than typical for him, but visibly you can see the group behind him has caught back up after he had gapped them so nicely at this part of the track even, and was pretty much out of draft range. Now he's going to give a nice little pull to Xavier Sanchez. They crossed the line. Yeah, it was about 0.2 slower than last lap, so that'll do it.
Yeah, and honestly, it looked like it was slower than that, but I think it was mainly Sanchez ran a 45.1, almost onto the back of Tyler into the braking zone for 1, and has pulled a little bit of a gap for himself over Gwen. Gwen looked like she was under threat from Zoko a little bit on that last lap too.
All this happening behind our leader Topi Kortinemi, who will get closer to Brandon Hawken thanks to the drop weeks. Brandon's lowest score, other than his 0 drops, is a 51 points at Monza. So it'll still be a decent day for him, but a train grade, as we watch him, is less concerned with the championship at this stage and is just trying to see what he can do here to get himself onto the podium past the famed Mick Claridge.
We haven't seen Mick do too many races this year, really, I would say. Obviously with his bike ride and whatnot, but the races he has turned up to, they haven't always gone to plan. I think it's fair to say, but this one's been pretty good so far.
Absolutely, it's been a nice return, shaking off that rust and getting back into it. but he's got to deal with his old sparring partner, Ove Trangerade, who's fought with many a times. See if he can still handle the feisty Scandinavian, who loves a good battle. Isn't always all that into just running on his own. He'd rather have a race with somebody else. We've seen it in the past, so sometimes he can slow up a bit if there's nothing on the line, just so that he can have a little fun with somebody out there. But he's having plenty of fun with Mick for the time being, and he's going to have to get a little closer to try and pass. He's not got many laps left to do it. We're going to get 2 to go next time by at the line.
Yeah, whilst this is happening, Sanchez has got a really nice run on the outside of Bill Tyler.
All right, so this carries on, and Sanchez still behind Tyler as they head into Repsol as we watch Trangrade and Claridge come through the corner ahead of them down into Vert. And yeah, he's forcing Tyler defensive. I can tell you off screen, Tyler has been taking to the inside of a few corners that he feels a little bit susceptible. Sanchez has got to watch out, because I know we can't see it here, but Gwen Old is right behind him, and Ben Zoko is right there as well. If one of them slips up, there's going to be an attack from somebody.
Yeah, it looked like Sanchez slipped up a little bit there, but Gwen didn't really get the run that she needed to have an attack. We've seen that Zoko's pretty strong on the brakes, but no attack from him this time.
Well, no attack, no chance. So somebody's got to get dug in here, try and make a shot at it. And from what I've seen, Gwen Old is certainly feeling ready to try and make a few moves here today. Up into 7th now. Well, I say up into 7th. She's actually down 2 from where she qualified. So very, very fast today. Just unfortunately, it didn't quite work out for her in the race itself. But a top 10 will be something to hang her hat on. Down to the inside. There goes Sanchez on Bill Tyler. Tyler's going to shut the door, though.
Yeah, really half-hearted move there by Sanchez, to be honest. He kind of looked at it, but he never got alongside, and kind of checked the both of them up. Gwen got a much better run through 1 and 2, but it's not going to be able to do anything with it. Tyler's really slow off of 3, and I'm not sure why. This is the 2nd lap in a row where he's almost been passed on the outside here.
Ben Zoko made an ambitious move, but Gwen gave him just enough space. They did not make contact. I thought they were going to. So Ben stays in position back in 8th spot and back on top of Bill Tyler once again. Xavier Sanchez still trying it. He gets a brief reprieve from Old, who backs off. And now it is 2 pairs instead of quartet.
Yep, and I think that's kind of what we've seen a little bit in this pack, is that it tends to just randomly kind of split apart, and then everybody gets back together. But with only 2 laps to go, they're running out of time.
Back up to our battle for 3rd place now. Courtenay just took the white flag and crossed the line as Tixier tries to run away from Claridge and Trangrade, and is actually doing so quite well. It's up to a 2nd ahead of that yellow machine. Ove probably knows plenty of how Mick tries to race. Can he use that to his advantage? Mick very defensive because he knows Ove was close coming off the final corner. Going to slipstream him down into Elf as they break for the turn. He's to the outside. If he can hang there, he can maybe have the inside coming through the 2nd part of the turn. No, he can't hang.
Yeah, but he's going to have a little bit of a crossover opportunity here, maybe into 4.
And as that's happening, look at this. This is Tyler and Sanchez. Sanchez got a run, managed to get a nose ahead, and he is fully passed by the time they get through the first 2 corners. Gwen Old has been able to rebuff Zoko down through 1 and 2 as well. They were side by side. It's the last lap. It's all kicking off. Everybody knows this is where you got to make the move.
Yeah, Zoko to the inside here, but he's going to put himself back on the outside as he gets that tight hairpin. Bill Tyler doesn't look like he's got anything in response to Sanchez.
Side by side down into the braking for Seat. Old is to the inside as Ove. And who was that at the side there? I think that was a lapped car, actually. So that wasn't for position, but that'll certainly distract the 2 of them. And Topi Courtenay, who is already coming up to 2 laps, or 2 corners to go rather, has Pangrazi and Timothy Porter in front of them. They'll get to do one extra lap to sort out that position. But the sorted P1 has Topi Kortiniemi winning today and taking the championship lead. Great stuff for Topi Kortiniemi, as Tixier is going to get a handy second place and just barely surviving for a podium. Mick Claridge will get third today, as Ove Trangrade will be P4.
Yeah, that battle for fifth I don't think is completely set, as we see Mick with some acrobatics at the end there.
Looks like Sanchez is going to finish ahead of Tyler. Old will get 7th place ahead of Zoko. Nice defense there from the 14. Nice attack from Ben, and kept it very fair across the line. And some credit to Cam Porter. The number 20 car finishes 9th today, up 9 positions as well.